be, but I'm going to start all over again, just briefly. Hi, I forgot to start that one and started talking on these ones. Rolling in the chaos, just go with it, right? Maybe we can roll into it and shake it up a little bit and then make it better on the way out of it. So I have the distinct pleasure of being able to see consciousness. Yep. I've been very blessed to be able to see consciousness around myself, or in the empty spaces, everywhere. And having seen that and knowing what consciousness is, and then understanding other things. Yeah, so it's just sometimes, so what ends up happening when you die, right? When you die, the moment of death, you are presented with a tunnel. If you are to attach to something in the physical realm, then you get tethered here. So they refuse to move on, is what ends up happening with those type of apparitions or entities that you see. And most often they're completely harmless. They are attached to something. And it's kind of interesting because my latest book that I wrote for children kind of talks a little bit about that, because it's a little child who, so the book is called, I'll get it. Hang on, I'll get it. 2 seconds. I also wanted to get my other little deck of cards too. All right. My back. All right. So the book there's a series of books. I'll show you. I can show you them very quickly. So it's a series of books written mostly, I think, would be targeted towards girls. It follows 4 girls who they encounter mystical beings, I would say. And the first book was Tiana, the Goblin Slayer, sort of, which then was Parisa Befriends the Pixies. And then it went to Sha'Ryah, Teaches a Wolf to Meditate. Then we had Mariah and the Pegasus Who Won't Fly. And then we have Tiana and the Phoenix Who Refused to Burn. Yep. And then we have Parisa and the Mermaid Who Is Afraid of Water. And then the last book in the series so far is called Sha'Ryah and the Ghost Who Is Afraid of the Dark. I actually have 21 books published now. And most of them are children's books. I write more spiritual or educational type books for children. The first book that I wrote was for children was called Jesse Learns to Create Calm Spaces, and it was to teach the calm spaces technique to children so that they could manage anxiety, panic, and stuff like that. So it takes the children through the calm spaces technique, which is to color and code an emotion, and then to go through the earth element, which is grounding, the air element, which is breath, which is breathing, and then the water element, which is wetting your palate. So you can do that with a drink of water or by running your tongue along the soft palate until it causes the saliva letdown. And then the fire element is firing up your imagination. So in the calm spaces technique, when you get to firing up your imagination, you fire it up with the emotions, with the color of things, of the emotion that you want to invoke. So if yellow is your color for joy and you want to shift yourself from anxiety to joy, if you focus on things that are yellow as the things that you're imagining, it will move you to joy sooner, because it's just the way your mind works, right? That's what they do with advertising. So in this book here, it talks about the same concept that you were asking about. So this little boy, Oliver, he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to leave his parents. And because he's sad, he's scared of the dark. He's afraid of the dark. And he's sad for his parents, so he doesn't move on because of them. And in the end, he decides to stay and just to be a guiding light for other people, not a ghost that scares people, but a nice warm ghost. So that was kind of the concept of that. And that's the whole thing is most, if some, where your ants are concerned, or whoever is seeing these things, they're seeing that because that person's either tethered to an item or to a place or to a person. If they are attached to a person, they tend to follow that person, right? If that person moved, they would move with it. If it's an item, if that item is moved with the house, then they go with the item. But oftentimes it's the place, like it's the actual physical location that they get attached to. So once they free themselves from whatever it is that has them tethered here, then they can move on. We're meant to go towards the light, but we're meant to go through the Bardo gates. And this is a very advanced topic to talk about on here. But we go through the Bardo gates of the Bardo gates. Hello, Nat. How are you? Yeah. That's fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Hello, guys. Say hello. I'm going to do a check-in, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm not a tarot reader. I do have tarot cards. I actually make my deck. This is my own deck. These are all my own pictures. It's the Etherian Tarot. It has the 5th element in it. What I do with my cards is I do readings for the collective, like I do a collective energy check-in. And sometimes I will pull cards for people occasionally. I do offer readings at my website, but the main purpose of what I bring is about awakening your consciousness, healing your trauma, nervous system regulation. I have so much information in my brain. I have so many things to teach people, so many wonderful things that would really, really help you get prepared to be part of the new earth, a healthy earth, not part of the old earth, the unhappy earth, or the controlled earth, or the inverted earth, whatever you want to call it, right? So my whole thing is to help you move through your trauma, move through your shadows, move through, manage your mental health, regulate your nervous system, talk about all forms of like consciousness and awakening and truth stuff. That's what I like to do. All right. But I am going to do a check-in, but my check-in is going to be different because one of the things that I also very much believe in and I'm trying to promote, I write books. I mentioned that earlier with Farisabab, Fairy. Can I call you Fairy, please? Because I would have to have you say it to me so that I could auditorily pick it up so then I would say it right. And I don't want to say it poorly. Thank you. Thank you. I apologize for my tongue, but like I said, if I could hear you say it, then I could repeat it, but I haven't heard you say it. So I would just be, I don't want to say it poorly. Yes. So I write books and I have written over 21 books now. And I currently have a bunch that are in production at the same time. Hi, Rodina. What would you like to ask, Jana? You definitely ask a question. I like it when the audience is more interactive. I always tell people they have the right to, you can ask any question. It's just whether or not I'm going to answer it because sometimes I choose not to. Okay. I'm going to skip by your question for right now, Jana. Okay. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish explaining what I was talking about. So I'm currently in the process of writing a few books, and I did narrow it down and decide that I was going to focus on one book only until it was finished. And then I was going to open it up to, to start the next book or another book or whatever. And the book that I started to focus on is Elemental Fieldwork Codex. Okay. So when I was talking earlier, I was talking about how I'm one of the people that are very lucky to be able to see consciousness. I don't see it all the time, but when I am very open and my nervous system's really good, I'm on TikTok, 2 different TikTok channels, and then I'm on Facebook and 2 YouTube channels. Hi, Hamel. I'm glad that you showed up. Thank you, TT. That's what I do when you do the thing. So yeah, I'm on multiples. Sometimes TikTok's pretty exciting, or there's a lot of energy that's coming from TikTok. And sometimes it's the YouTube channels or the, yeah. If you want, here, I'll put that in because I have 2 different YouTube channels, but I'm going to put down just so that you have, that's the TikTok thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, everything that I talk about when I talk about spirituality, the number one thing that I get people to be aware of is a couple of things. I said the number one and then went into a couple of things. That was silly. But we always have to get consent, no matter what we're doing, right? And there's a lot of people that talk about astral projection, for instance. But if you are astrally projecting, you need to have consent for any of the spaces that you're going into, right? Why is it that you're feeling lost right now? And how long? How long? Because with CERN being taken off, there I copied in the, or no, that didn't show up on Facebook. Yeah, it did it not? No. Okay, give me a second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to help my one user that's on Facebook, and then I can give you 4 months. Okay. Thank you. Some people would say that about me. I usually get people telling me they just don't understand my brain because it just like, there's a lot of information there. Let me find my live on here. Where's Hamel? Oh, and I will answer your question too. Okay, Hamel. I don't know why it didn't bring up my live on here. Let me go to my page. All right. Okay. Here we are. All right. Sorry, I have to mute it. There you go, Hamel. Now I got to get off Facebook because that'll just bother me. I read, I write, I do so many things. Aw. So, okay, I have a cool thing for you then, because I've been going through it too. And this last couple of days, ever since CERN, I have been emotional. I don't know why. Yay. Hi, guys. I have over 21 books written now. I probably have, I don't even know. I can't even count how many books I have in production right now. But I've been really going through it too. That's what I was talking about. And ever since CERN was shut off, I've been emotional, like just very sensitive. And so things are just coming up to be looked at. Things are coming up to be healed. And as long as we don't run away from the pain, then we can move beyond it. But what ends up happening is that through our childhood, we were not given the support, the nurturing, the soothing, the emotional regulation, like the understanding of any of that. So when we get triggered, because we don't know how to manage our emotions, because we weren't taught, then our options are run away from it, avoid it completely. There is fighting and stuff like that, right? Like we get triggered into our dysregulated nervous system states. Yeah. Last 2 days. So because they turned that off, and even though there's like, it depends on who you ask, right? If you ask mainstream, it's no big deal. It's just, they're just doing some upgrades. But every time that this happens, there is a change. There's a significant change. So it's really important to understand that sometimes the energies that you're feeling are not even yours. Sometimes the energies that you're feeling, you could be picking up from the environment. You could be picking up from other people, especially if you're not good with your spiritual practices, especially if you're not, your nervous system, you need more nervous system work. So I'm a nervous system specialist, trauma and nervous system support specialist. And you can say, well, what the heck is that? Well, that's somebody who was a nurse for over 20 years, who was handed a bunch of nervous system diagnosis, and I decided to become an expert in them, because if that's what I had, then I was going to know all about it and what to do about it. So originally I was diagnosed with having multiple sclerosis. Then I was diagnosed with having functional neurological disorder, along with anxiety, depression, panic disorder, complex PTSD, ADHD, a bit of the autism, all of these things, right? They just love to give you acronyms and diagnoses and then pills that make you a lifelong consumer. And after 2 years almost of trying to get better and not getting better, I decided I'm going to take my health into my own hands. And so I decided to go on my own healing journey. And that made me decide that, well, the number one thing that I had was trauma that was unresolved. And because it was unresolved, and I was someone who was high functioning anxiety and depression, which means my body was just depleted. All my resources were depleted. Neurological disorder, that happened because my mom was an abused mom. So when I was pregnant and in her belly, she was under a lot of stress. So her nervous system fluctuations going up and down and all around were affecting the baby that was gestating me. So my nervous system didn't wire correctly, is what the doctors told me. So stress for me ends up manifesting into symptoms of disease. That's what functional neurological disorder is. Your brain's miswired, so it just doesn't know. So it just manifests something for you to take a second look and go, I need rest. I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I have a tell, right? As soon as I start to get stressed out, like bad, it's not little stress. It's when I start to get like really stressed, my knee buckles, and I'll be walking and my knee will just give out. And then I'll take another step, my knee will give out. And that was one of the first things that started to happen as I was moving, as I was going through those diagnoses. It's what prompted the MS. Oh, and you're like, yep. So I take a very different approach. A lot of times, and so I went, healing, awakening, all this new earth, we are, so many things, right? Monitor your thoughts, all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, I came right back full around into the fact that we have to embody it. And that's what many people do. Initially, they look at spirituality as a component of healing, but it can sometimes become an escape. And we're like, I'm gonna escape through spirituality. I'm going to ascend out of this humanness, right? It's so dense and it's so struggle and it's just this and that. We're not meant to ascend out of our bodies. We're meant to marry our spirit into our body and walk that onto the earth and create heaven on earth, right? Which with heaven on earth, the founding principle of all of that needs to be life is sacred. Yes. Yep. Oh yeah. Lots of people. There's lots of, like when you look at each section that you're going through, like whether you're healing or whether you're awakening, but whenever you're in a vulnerable position, there are people that are looking around just to take apart, like take from you, right? There are so many takers in the world. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's been a lot, right? And the problem with society right now is that if you're not careful, because you do have to be very careful right now, if you're watching TV, if you're ingesting any news programming, if you're watching any media stuff, if you're turning your TV on, you have to be really careful what you're putting on because of the frequencies, because of the information that they're giving you, blatant lies. It's just crazy. Aw, thanks, Hams. I appreciate that. I think it's up on the heart thing right there, I think is what it is that gives the heart. I think that's it, but I don't know because I'm usually here, not there. I have to sit there and then I would tell you. So you have to, one of the things that's the most important thing for us to be doing right now is managing our nervous system, right? Is managing our nervous system. And yes, there absolutely is to that. I gotta prove both of those because neither one of them should have been filtered. So your nervous system's huge. Your nervous system is what determines your capacity to handle stuff and to hold things. So if your nervous system has been, you were raised in trauma and you didn't have any emotional regulation and you didn't have any of that stuff, then your nervous system could be on a regular basis sitting here and you don't even realize it. Right. So if you think about, you want your nervous system at the ground floor, it takes, so then you have all that space before you blow your top, right? When you get really triggered and you're out of your, you're not really controlling yourself anymore, your emotions are. So doing practices every day to bring the elevator down is a very important part of the healing journey and about regulating your nervous system. And there's a whole variety of things that you can do on a daily basis that are nurturing and healthy for your nervous system. You can ground in nature. You can put your feet on the earth, bare feet, put your bare skin on the earth, go sit out there and just let yourself ground. There's a beautiful transfer of negative ions. It reduces stress. It decreases your blood pressure, connects you to nature, which you are nature. You are a part of it, right? It's a very catchy term, Leslie. I'll talk about it in a minute. I'll loop back to that because I actually did have a session in the Balanced Self Sanctuary, and that's what it was all focused on, was your triggers. So yeah, that's your system is replenishing itself. Sometimes it's because we don't have those joyful things to fill our cup with as well, right? You can't be always healing or always dissecting yourself or always looking at yourself from the lens of there's something wrong, because there's nothing wrong with you. Okay. There's nothing wrong with us. We were born perfect. We are loved. We are worthy. We're deserving, right? You've never, ever, ever seen a person, like see a baby be born and someone go, oh, that's just garbage. Get rid of it, right? You see a baby born and it's the most beautiful, most miraculous, most wonderful thing. And that's what you were until distortion entered. And distortion is people not realizing the sacredness of life and so much more than that, all of the inversions that we're dealing with. And so then trauma. Right? Trauma handed down from the last generation that had trauma, and it keeps getting handed down. So we have to be the ones that at this point say enough is enough. There's no more trauma. We're not doing that anymore. And so we have to be dealing with doing a lot of nervous system regulation and healing the world. And by the world, I mean the earth, like Mother Nature, because she's being affected by all of this as well. So having something daily that allows you to lower your internal elevator, your nervous system, right? Get it down into its regulated space. If you're doing stuff on a daily basis, that's great. But then you also have to have a toolkit that has those little one-off things for when something goes boom, right? I'm regulated. Every day I get up and I do breath work and toning and meditating and all kinds of things. I ground in nature. I get outside and interact with it. I have a wonderful relationship with the elements, which is why I'm writing the Elemental Fieldwork Codex, is because of the things that I've experienced by having that very sacred relationship with all the elements. And this last couple of days, I've been just so sensitive. And, like some things you understand, but my friend, her dog died, and I was just inconsolable. And I barely know this dog because I lived in Ontario for many years, and she got him when I was in Ontario, and I haven't seen her since I came back out here. So but I know the dog. I know of him from before. I was I couldn't help it. I was so overcome with emotion. So the point is that when you have those one-off moments, right, don't beat yourself up about it, because you're human and you have emotions, and, the stuff that's coming at you came at you too fast or came at you too much, or it pushed on a pressure point that you need to allow some of that energy to flow from. So you just sit with yourself, ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What can I give myself? Not that I'm broken, not that I'm damaged, not that there's anything like that. Just What do I need in this moment? And it was funny when I asked myself that, I just needed to be held. It was like this little child inside of me was just like so sad today. Right. And she just wanted to be held and to be known, I'm not leaving her. And, for many of us, we have abandonment wounds or we have rejection wounds. There are really big wounds that many of us carry, right? They're probably the number one wounds that children get from their parents is abandonment, right? They're abandoning us in some way, at least our needs. I do have so many things to talk about today, though, on top of everything. The one thing that I wanted to talk about within consciousness, I'm a truth seeker. That's why I have a podcast called One Truth Sets You Free. It's available on TikTok and YouTube as well under One Truth Sets You Free, with the number one, not one spelled out, but One Truth Sets You Free. And the podcast called The Truth Will Set You Free, but it's available on both TikTok and YouTube. And the reason why the reason why I did that podcast is because I think that the truth is an important thing. And for a long time now, we've been manipulated, lied to, and there's all kinds of distortions in the world. So I started that, and it's been just a key part of who and what I am. People call me outspoken, people call me opinionated, people call me a lot of things. I don't care what they call me. I speak the truth, and people are just uncomfortable with it, and I'm okay with that. So one thing that I wanted to say, this is a statement of mine that I feel very I feel is a very powerful statement. Truth does not fear investigation. So when you think about that, all of the stuff that's going on in the world, if it's the truth, they would not have a problem saying, go ahead, look at it. Go ahead, investigate it. Go ahead, check it out. Go ahead, research it. Go ahead, right? So anytime that there is a block on information, or there is a censorship, or there is a redaction, or there is a sense of you're not allowed to go any further in that direction, the truth is being veiled from you. Okay? So the truth does not fear investigation. Because if you think about it, if you're in a situation in a relationship and somebody thinks the other one's cheating, if you ask, they're gonna be honest, and they're gonna be like, no, I'm not. Of course I'm not. Like, what made you think that? Like, they'll have a conversation with you. They'll go through the information. They're not going to, even if it was, well, if you're super insecure and you were like, I need to see your phone, and you hand over it, and they hand over your phone, go ahead, look at my phone. I don't have anything to hide. That's an example. That would be more on the side of they're not lying because they're being open and saying, go ahead and look, right? When somebody's like, no, you're not touching my stuff. You can't be in my stuff. You can't look at my stuff. Don't go anywhere near this, right? And or dodging the questions or whatever. That's an indicator that there's something they don't want you seeing, so they're not letting you in. And when you're looking at that, exactly, right? The thing is this is a sad statement to make with that. He's not the only one, and that wasn't the only island. There are so many things going on around the world, epic proportions of just absolute horrific things. Now, there are spirits that have specific roles where they will come in, and when you think about the body as well. So I'll go through two different aspects of the situation and went through those things. As a trauma and nervous system specialist, I'll tell you, number one, trauma and your nervous system protect you, because your nervous system would say, this is too much for me to handle. This is too much for me to cope with. So what ends up happening is you separate into your energetic layers. Your physical layer takes a bit, your emotional layer takes a bit, the mental layer takes a bit, the spiritual layer shields the rest. So it goes through those energetic layers to protect you, because you cannot handle the full weight of what you're experiencing. The second part is that the spirits that I talk about, these angels, they come in and they take that away as well. So they shield through those experiences. So they're not experiencing what we think they are. That doesn't mean that the horrible, like I got chills when I talked about that. That doesn't mean that the horrible things aren't happening and that it doesn't need to be changed. And we need to be aware of them so that we can say enough is enough. Ooh, I channeled my message from this morning. This is important. This is an important message. So every morning I do it is, I literally combine all of it. I combine science. I combine math. I combine spirituality, metaphysics, quantum physics. Like I research it all. I love it all. So I will look at all the information. Plus, like I said, I have 9 years of post-secondary education. I was a computer programmer. I started working when I was 14. By the time I was 16, I was on my own. By the time I was 20, I had 2 kids. By the time, I went to school, I was a computer programmer, systems analyst, and then I left that because it was not for me. And I became a nurse, registered nurse. And then I've done a whole bunch of other things as well. I ran heavy equipment. I sold cars. I sold radio. I did advertising. I've done a lot of stuff. High functioning. Hi. High functioning. Hi. So my task is slowing down. My task is not to be a product of my performance, that's my thing that I have to heal through all the time, because, when you grow up in a home where you have to produce or you have to perform or you have to, right? And also I was a child who had to take care of herself very young. So I'm wickedly independent. I got this. But that makes it a dangerous part when you're older too. That's a trauma, that's trauma that I have to work through. And I'm still working through it layer by layer, little by little. It's like peeling an onion, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And eventually you get to the core. But we're just remembering who we were before everybody screwed us up. That's all you're doing. You're not messed up. People and society is messed up. And you just need to remember who you were before all the damage got applied. That's it. Oh my God, I should invite her as a guest. I wonder if she'd come hang out with me. She might be like, who's this? I never received an invitation. I don't typically invite her to come live. She's a Canadian that lives in Texas now, and she talks a lot of controversy or conspiracy theory stuff, which we all know is more real than what they've led us to believe. But I do every morning, I channel a message, and you can too. I actually channel 2 messages. So after I get up every morning and I greet the day, I greet the elements, I greet my higher self, I greet my monad, I greet source, Mother Gaia. I rise with the sun, and I do breath work. I do toning. I do the bumblebee. Here, let me see if I can look up the name of it so I can pronounce it, because otherwise I'll butcher it. It's a form of let me see, what is it called? Brahmari. Okay. Brahmari. It's bumblebee breathing. So when you humming puts vibration, especially if you're doing the Brahmari, if you're doing that, it's really going to put the vibration into your brain, into your cranium. And so when you're doing this technique, the reason why you do it is to decalcify your pineal gland. Okay. Because that will open up your third eye more. So the way that you do it, because, you're going to mimic a bumblebee. So you put your hands like this, and then your thumbs, you're just going to push on your ears and close them, right? So you're going to close your little over top of them. That's all. And these are on kind of on your eye and on your top of your head. So I'm a little bumblebee. Bzzz. Then you take a big breath in, and you can either hum and go straight into a hum. I like to go om, because the Om still carries into the hum, and I'll do that for 3 to 5 minutes every day. So I do that. I do toning. I do meditation. I do decrees. I do all kinds of things in the morning. I have quite a routine that I do. But at the end of it, then I check in and I say, can I get a message for the collective? And then I write it down. And when you do it like that, that's called automatic writing, or it can be called like channeling, because you're channeling, but into writing. Hi, Francis. How are you? So I'm going to read. You just have to, I'm an old nurse, right? So my nails don't ever really make it past these. I'm trying to remember. It's funny because sometimes I'll look at people's pictures and then I'll be like, yeah. Okay. I'm going to read you the channeled message from this morning because it's kind of on point with what we've been talking about a little bit. And if you want a demonstration of the bumblebee, just let me know and I'll do a bumblebee for you. But just because you ask. Okay. So this is the message that I channeled through when I asked for one for the collective. And then I also asked for one for me personally, and I write it in a different book. Francis is like, I want to see this. So you can do this too. All you do is just take some breaths, get your nervous system regulated, right? You want to make sure that you're not way up here. So just bring your nervous system down. And then you can ask for a message from your higher self and just put your pen on the paper. The hardest part about it all is that we want to second guess ourselves or question ourselves or doubt ourselves, right? So that's the only part. And as long as you just write whatever comes out, don't even read it. Don't even read it. Wait until the end. I don't read these until I read them on the air. And then I'm like, oh, so that's what everything said. I've already read this one out once today, though. I'll do the bumblebee for you after, Francis. Yes. I like that, hands. Okay. If you are waiting for a savior, you are going to be waiting for yourself to wake up. The only one who will save you is you. We've been taught to look outside ourselves for everything: our value and worth, our idols, our sovereignty and authority, our health and wellness. This has been done on purpose. Looking outside for all these things is how they keep you stuck and handing over money. While you are looking external for someone to save or rescue you, you do not advance. You do not heal. If healing requires breath work, I can't do that for you. If saving yourself requires you to remember your truth and live it, I can guide you to the truth, but you need to live it. Sometimes it's hard for me to read my writing. While you are waiting for a savior, you aren't doing the work, which is what actually saves you and us. When you are waiting for that savior, you are giving up your authority and sovereignty. They can send anything to you under the guise of being a savior for your benefit, for your safety, and you'll take it because you have no autonomy. It may seem daunting, but it is easier than you realize. Stop running from your pain and your emotions. Meet them, validate them, and learn to regulate your nervous system or soothe. This is how you heal and save yourself. Seek the truth and live it every day. And every day will get easier. You may not save the world, but you will save you. And for you, that is the whole world. Sometimes they give me some tough messages to read to people, but they need to hear them, apparently. All right. Demonstration of Brahmari. Say it right. It is, right? Metacognition is the ability to look at why do I think that? Why do I do that? Why am I being that way? right? Why, and if you can question your belief systems and stuff, right? If you can question your belief systems, then you can change them. Why do I believe the things I believe? Who taught me them? And where did they learn it? And if it's just something that's just constantly being passed down, but nobody's ever questioned it, then maybe you're the person that's supposed to question it and go, why? Why? All right, here we go, guys. Brahmari. Big inhale all the way in. Now, when you do that, you don't want your teeth biting down. You want to leave your teeth, a little gap with your teeth. Okay. And you'll hear just a total vibration inside it sounds like bees inside your brain. And that's going to help to decalcify your pineal gland. Okay. Bumblebee breathing. Can't believe I ever forgot it was Brahmari. Brahmari. I actually studied with a shaman. I've done a bunch of different things, guys. I tell you, Overachievers Anonymous, here I come. I don't know if it has to be anonymous though. Do you want to check in? Do you want to check in and see what the elements have to say to us? I think we can do that. Right? Let's see what the elements have to say. And then we can talk about what specifically are you struggling with, because maybe I can give you some guidance right here on the spot that'll help you. And you can always go and check out my website. I have a ton of things. 4 of Earth. I have a ton of things there to help you, whether it's mini classes, full courses, books, tons of books. I do have membership spaces. I have one that is for the awakening group, and I have one that is for the healing group. The healing is Balanced Self Sanctuary, and the awakening is Embodied Leadership Circle. Carol Parrish. I will look her up, because then the parish, and it could be just the parish name is somebody I might have known a parish. I might have known an actual person. What does she? Sparrowhawk Village. That one, the Sparrowhawk Village, which was interesting because Sparrow was here earlier, but she left. Oh, I did pull fire out. Oh, we'll do air first. Aw. Hi, Hams. How are you? Oh, wow. That's cool. Nice. I'm going to have to look up some of her stuff. Very cool. And thanks for coming on over here. All right. Whoop. It flew on down, but I'm going to get her. Nope, she's upside down. She's upside down. That's okay. Sometimes the uptown guards are good. No problem. I looked at the rest of your, did I still have it up? Oh, let me see. Let me see. It might still be there. No. But you know what? I remember your birthday. That's the crazy part about me, is I have a really good memory, and especially when it comes to numbers and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, allow them flee. It said invalid time. Okay, because I didn't put the time in. Yeah, because I remember because I saw your post, what you put on Facebook too, and I'm going to answer that post that you put up, because The way that I have come to understand astrology to a certain degree at this point, when it comes to looking at tropical versus sidereal and true sidereal, is that tropical, we seem to identify with it much more with our ego. And when we end up moving into a space where we then identify more with our with the true sidereal. Now, part of that, I think, is also you have to know your whole chart, because people look at the sun sign and they say, that's me. And then they really heavily identify with it. And you have to question, am I Gemini or Leo or this because I identify as that? So I'm adopting the list of characteristics that associate with that. Or am I, or is that coming through me? And then, that's a bit different. I was super Sagittarius in mainstream astrology, super Sagittarius. I was like fire. And the fire doesn't come from Sagittarius at all, which is the hilarious thing about it. When I look at true sidereal, I'm actually Ophiuchus and Scorpio. I am Aries rising, which makes so much sense. So before, when I looked at tropical, my big three was Sagittarius sun, Virgo moon, and Taurus rising. And I always had a hard time with that. I had a hard time with that. Like the Sagittarius stuff, sure, totally identified with that. You should come hang out with me. Come hang out in our groups. I do meetings twice a week. No, twice a month. So 4 times a month, because each group has 2 meetings. And I'm here 3 times a week. I do here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you go to my webpage, which is linked in my bio up here, it's in the membership spaces. And it does say in the thing, let me know if anything shows up with the mobile app. I have to check that on my thing and make sure it's not funky, because sometimes it gets weird, but I'll look at it if it is. And yeah, so it's in those spaces, but you can come and hang out with me here every single Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. I do Saturday. We do the global meditation for unity, peace, love, and truth, and also to raise ourselves and Mother Gaia to the highest harmonic frequency or the highest timeline. And then Monday nights, it's Sunday nights, Embodied Spirituality. We talk a lot about the same stuff that we talk about today, but I also look at the true sky and say, what are we going to be dealing with for this coming week? So I do a little energy check-in with the sky. On Wednesdays, it's just, we're hanging out. I do teaching, education, soothing, whatever we need. So if you need your nervous system regulated, we can talk about what some techniques for that. Give you a little bit of help with that. I'll show you one of my favorite ones. It's definitely my favorite one. That's the one. You're just extras. Decided to fly out. What do we got there? Whew, okay. We got some cards in the inverted, but that's okay. He was like, right away. Okay. We've got cards. This is the type of reading that I've been interested in doing lately because of all of my elemental work. So I like to connect with the elements. The elements exist within us and without us. They are forces. They are entities. They are beings. Like they're currently proving that water is sentient. Right? Water has memory, water has intelligence, and so do all the elements. And if you can see the ether element, you can see the intelligence within that. And I have sat with the ether element and interacted with it to see the living intelligence, and that it is absolutely alive around us. It is moving all around us at all times. When we have relationship with spirit, when we believe in a higher power, then spirit is with us, right? When we deny spirit, when we turn like when we say that we don't believe in God, we don't believe in anything with that, It can be messages that you're just not listening to, but if it's constant, it could be. Mhm. Like, is it all the time, all the time? One of the things that we have to be aware of is that everything is on a spectrum and there's layers of reality. I probably jumped from one topic right to the next, but there are layers of reality, right? And so it comes and goes. Okay. So that's there's many people out there, and I'm one of them, that I see static when I look. Like, I don't, it doesn't, it's not clear for me. There's always static, like, just in the everywhere, right? And the reason why I see that is because my visual field is open a little bit wider, right? And yes, it's called tinnitus when you're looking at it medically, right? I remember, I had my eyes checked, nothing. My son has the same thing where he sees, it looks like static in the air. There's all kinds of, and it's just, it's nothing, nothing's not moving. You can see, like, it's the seeing outside of the normal spectrum is what it is. And with the tones, like with picking up where it's coming and going and picking up those tones, I think you're just hearing outside of the spectrum. Now, we do get messaging, right? Like where you're getting a message from your guide. So you'll get a tone in your ear. And oftentimes it can be just a woo for you to listen, right? Like out here, right? Just listen, because there may be something that you need to pay attention to. There may be, and what I do sometimes when I get that, when it rings up here, right? I lean into it and I just open myself to receive whatever it is. Sometimes you do get something, but sometimes you don't know. It probably gets, Mhm. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay. This elemental work. So the earth, the elements are inside and outside of you. When we look at the earth element is your bones, it's your teeth, it's your muscles, it's your connective tissues, right? So that's your earth element, right? And it's also outside of you with the ground and soil and rock and crystal and all of that stuff. All right. So when we're looking at do with these cards is I like to ask myself where I feel these things in my body as I'm saying them. Okay. This is a form of body mapping, and this allows you to explore emotions. You're not doing anything you're not changing anything. You're just exploring where they reside. And then you could also do like breathing into that space to relieve any of the tension or to allow the emotion to move from that space. But right now we're going to talk about what the Four of Earth is. So this is financial security. Whoops. Financial security. So where does financial security rise? Where do you feel financial security in your body when I say that? Financial security. Oh, I feel it here. Like it's just like this. Oh, hello, love. How are you? It feels so, right? So it's beautiful, right? When you think about stability, where do you feel stability? Oh, right down in the butt ski and the thighs, right? In that space there. It was just like, yeah, I'm grounded. Right down into the legs, right? Saving wisely, and then control over material resources, right? How beautiful. So the Four of Earth, it's hard to read because of the light, guys. I'm gonna sit it down this way. You don't need to see the card. You just saw it. Okay. So we're gonna put it down this way so I can actually have the light. I could tell you what the card means, what the Four of Earth means. The Four of Earth is like, it is the stable. Is so stable that you have to be careful that you don't do something silly. Because sometimes we are so wired to excitement of some level. Our nervous system, it wants familiarity. So if you were raised in chaos, your nervous system consistently seeks chaos until you teach it that it doesn't need to go to those spaces. So this one here, we have to remember that money is currency, which is meant to flow. And what we do is we get into these spots where money's not really great and we go, I'm going to hold on to all of it. And then because we do that, we stop the flow. And I get it. Trust me, if anyone can comment on, understanding financial struggles, I can. And very, very much so. One of the things that has been my biggest test has been remaining calm, having my nervous system regulated, and knowing at the end of the day that everything is going to be fine, regardless of what's going on in the moment. And also knowing it's hard, and knowing to go to the tools that you have to regulate the nervous system, to bring yourself back into self. I started my company 5 years ago. I've been homeless a couple of times. That was hard, right? Especially when you think, like it was so hard for me because I'm such a high performer. I graduated like top of my class. I got awarded when I was in university for being an amazing woman, like literally, because I had a 4.0. I had 2 kids. I was working part-time. I was reading to a blind man. I was part of the nursing association. I was doing everything. I love you. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. So I was just go, do, because the more that I went and the more that I did, the less that I had to feel or think about the things that happened to me or have the boogeyman come out, it was just, I could run away from it. I experienced homelessness a couple of times as a child that I had nothing to do with. So, it doesn't affect me that way. And when we were homeless, we were lucky enough that we were only homeless during the warm months. And it was more like we were camping. And for me, a nature nut, I was happy. We were by the water. We could go swimming. I could go fishing. I could go catch frogs. I could go run in the woods and catch fairies. I could do whatever. I had a good imagination and I love nature. So that was different at that time. Although we knew we didn't have a home to go to, we didn't have, we stayed there the whole time. And my parents had a bed in their tent and a dresser and everything. They were set up. But as an adult, I experienced it too. So much so that I actually also have a nonprofit called Hugs for Homeless, and that I work as well. So I have my company and I have Hugs for Homeless, and which is a partnership. That's why I say it as a different thing, is because it's a partnership. So that's what got me doing that, right? You never know when your pain is going to turn into something that you're going to use to benefit society. And I think that's why we walk through the things that we walk through, is so that we can learn those things, so that we can be the resource for somebody else. It's not that the other person can't do it. You can do it, and you can do it all on your own. You can find a multitude of different ways to move through your traumas, or you could find a multitude of ways to wake up to the truth of society. You could go and read all the books that I've read. You could go and take all the courses that I've taken. You could, just have my brain, but you don't. So you can come and hang out with me, and I can give you the information in that way, and then you put it to use, and I can help guide you. So that's all I'm here for. I'm just a guide. That's what I shouldn't say. I'm just a guide. There's no just. Take the just out. I am a guide in the healing and awakening journey with a lot of nervous system and other information to back me. So when we're looking at that currency and allowing it to move through us, right? The biggest part about that is to make sure that we are not creating an issue where we are signaling to the universe that we're afraid, because fear just gives us more fear. When we sit in fear, that is the magnet of us. Because when you think about you as a human, you are a bioelectric, biomagnetic, you are so many things. I actually did a post on it the other day about how amazing we are as human beings. So you have, as a magnet, a biomagnetic individual that is resonating out there. So if I'm sitting in fear, it's resonating out into the field of consciousness that's all around us, and it's alive and it's interacting with you. So as you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what to do, the field's like, they don't know what to do. They like being confused. I don't understand why they like that, but okay, leave them in confusion. because we haven't been taught how to act or how to interact with the field in the right way, and to manage our nervous system and our emotions, and so on and so forth. But that field is always listening to you. And because you are biomagnetic, whatever you're sending out there is going to send something back that is in the same vibration as it. So it may not be the same thing. And I used to use the example of, you're driving your car and you're in a parking lot, and you back up and you bump into somebody's vehicle, and you damage it, and you drive away because you're just like, oh no, you panic, drive away. So that thing that you did, right? You just damaged someone's car. Right? You don't get away with that. Now, maybe your car won't get hit. Like, it's not a direct thing like that, but maybe 6 weeks down the road, your phone gets broken. And so the damage that you caused to someone's vehicle that maybe cost like $1,000, now you got to replace your phone for $1,000, right? So the universe kind of balances it all out at the end of the day. And it's not one for one. And when we're looking at the mirror that comes up for us to reflect upon it, right? When the mirror comes up and it says, so when we get into a relation, like, people will say, well, there's every experience is showing you something. It's not necessarily showing you, like, if you get into a relationship with somebody and say they're narcissistic, well, that's not showing you that you're narcissistic. It could be showing you that what is lacking in you, you saw in the narcissist, and that's what was attractive. And that's a sad thing for us to have to say, okay, because I did that. I went with narcissists. I had a whole bunch of narcissistic relationships. The reason why I did that is because they had confidence, they had backbone, they had a frame, they were strong, and I didn't feel that way. So that confidence, that strength that they showed for someone who is more sensitive, that strength was very attractive to me. And also, when you get into, oh my God, we can go into all kinds of psychological things, like, being abandoned by your father, having father wounds, things like that maybe there's a little bit of, Disney princess being savior. We get taught that the knight's going to ride in on, so maybe there was a part of me that was thinking, I'm a Disney princess and my knight's going to come in and save me. Right? There's so many ways that we get all twisted up in this. But at the end of the day, the big thing is that it either is showing you back at you, or it's showing you what you're lacking that you're finding in the other person or in the other situation. And that's something that's, we need to be looking at, but we run from it more often than not. We have to be careful with labels too. Not just when we're labeling other people, but when we're labeling ourselves. If I label myself as being an empath, if I look up the definition and everything that it says about an empath, if I assign myself that label, then I may adopt all the characteristics of that. And one of the things that empaths have a problem with is boundaries. That's not because empaths have a problem with boundaries. It's that the individuals who are identifying as empaths have not practiced proper boundaries. So most people who identify as empaths have poor boundaries. That's what it is. It's not that empaths are very loose with their boundaries. It's just what we're being taught. And that's by design, because it keeps us looping and spiraling and not really, being healthy. So if you know that you're highly sensitive, or if you do think that you are empathic or are an empath, then the biggest thing that you need to do is learn your boundaries. Yeah, I call myself an asshole too. I do. I say so sometimes with pride. It's funny because my business partner and I are different in Hugs for Homeless, right? I'm very much awake to the truth of society. And in society, I have to be careful because I can very much offend people. And that may not be good for the homeless. So I have to be careful what I speak about when I'm representing my other company, because it's not necessarily 100% in alignment with my partner, even though he's fine. Well, you go ahead, and by partner in business, not partner in relationship. I'm a solopreneur that way. But anyway, we are going all over in rounds and bouts. but it does. It makes you, it does, because we become what we become that, right? A lot of people, when they are with narcissists for a long time, they become like that. They adopt that. No, gosh, no, please do talk. There's a mosquito. He's got to go away. Got him. But you begin to, in protective measures, you start to basically mirror their behavior back to them, right? My last narcissistic relationship, I gray walled him. I gray rocked him. Sorry. I don't know why I gray walled, but anyway, I gray rocked him. And there were some terrifying moments doing that, though, because, you know, sometimes narcissism, like people that have narcissism, can also be violent. It can go hand in hand. Or just someone being wickedly dysregulated. So I was also out of the country. I was in Costa Rica at the time with this individual. And I decided to break up with them in Costa Rica, not having anything, nothing. He had, you know, as a narcissist, so he had all the money. I had my passport, and I just couldn't do it. Nope, I'm done. I'm out. I just acted like he was not really even there. I got through that situation. I had a girl that I had met through my business coach. So we were friends on social media. I'd never met her in person. She lived in Costa Rica, and I moved down and stayed with her until I came back to Canada after that. But she let me move in. So I moved in with a complete stranger to get away from him, which was an interesting experience. But I love Costa Rica. I would go back like that. It was beautiful. But that was it was the healing that I had to do. Apparently I had to realize that, you know, I could stand up to a narcissist and I was okay. And that was fine. But the other reason what I was going to say about identify or labels and stuff is that oftentimes, especially if you're not aware of the label and how that can be, sometimes we'll label people and we'll be like, oh, they're a narcissist, because then it makes us the victim. And then we can be like, well, they did all of these things to me. I was just a victim. So we have to be really careful and so oftentimes I don't even look at that I was in relationships with people who had narcissistic traits, is a better way to say it. But not even going to that. I was just in a relationship with toxic people. There was just toxicity. And I brought toxicity too. Like if I think that I was innocent in all of my relationships, then I need to go back and do a whole bunch more healing. I will see myself out, right? Because when my biggest moment in my healing was when I said to myself that the common denominator in all of my relationships was me. So, what was I doing? And what was it in me that I was attracting these same people over and over again? And that's when the healing really begins, because you start to look at your part that you played, right? When I started to look at that, well, I'm anxious attached, I'm more disorganized, but anxious to disorganized attachment. And so, of course, the people that I would be partnering up with were avoidant, because anxious and avoidant go together, just magic. There's a lot of chemistry for those two. There's a lovely push-pull dynamic. You run, I chase. And, you know, for me, because of all of the abandonment, the abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, mental, like all of it, like I narrowly avoided, I made it out alive. That's the, right. So when you go through all of that, for me, everything was outside of me. Like everything that was going to make me safe or make me okay, it was all out there. Right. And then when I realized that, you know, I was only lovable if I was in a relationship. That was literally my mentality. So when when we were going to break up, when a breakup was going to happen, and trust me, if you're in a relationship with an avoidant, then anytime something gets really tough, the avoidant's like, I'm out of here. And then the anxious person goes, please don't leave please don't leave me. And they chase and they chase and they beg and they plead. And then the avoidant comes back and things go okay for a little bit. And then the fight or the whatever happens and the toxicity explodes again. And then the person's, I'm out and the other person's chasing, right? And, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. And the thing that I had to realize at the end was I was leaving myself every single time. I was abandoning me over and over and over for somebody who wasn't like, we weren't aligned. We were aligned for the purpose of healing that. But if we didn't choose to heal it, then that, and at some point you heal enough and then you move on anyway. So like I said, I wasn't special. I tried to do trauma. I tried to do healing, but I didn't find a therapist that I gelled with. Most often people I was accomplished. I got into that trap of, oh, you're a nurse. Oh, you're the director of nursing. You're so well adjusted. You're fine. No, I'm not. I can tell you I'm not. I might look like I'm the duck on top of the water to you, but on the inside, I'm the duck under the water. And my feet are just a kicking. And I would do that all the time. I would go into a therapist and they'd be like, well, why are you here? And I would talk about it. And I would be like, well, I was physically abused at 6 months of age and beyond. And I was sexually abused at, I don't know, but we're hazarding around 2 years old and on and on and on and on and on. I moved over 50 times as a child. I've moved over 60 times actually, as like in my whole entire life. I can't even, I've lost count. I've lost count. One day I'll stop moving. One day I'll find my forever home and I'll leave it. But yeah, so it's cycles, right? We get to the point where we have to have our awakening moment. We have to have our straw that breaks our back. For me, it was my health. When I got taken out at work, then I couldn't be productive anymore. I couldn't prove my worth. We're at no value now. Oh no. Oh, the man leaves. I'm not lovable. I lose the job. I'm not valuable. I'm not worthy. Oh no. That was my dynamic. I had to either be proving myself in some way. I had to show up and I had to please, I was literally probably, I don't think this was a thing that a term that I would have used in my day, but I was probably back then, pick me, right? I just wanted someone to show up and stay and that I was worthy and I was good and, that I was lovable. And, I wanted all the things that I didn't get in childhood. I wanted consistency and stability. And I wanted to know that someone was going to have my back and that if I had a bad day, that wasn't going to change that. All of the things that we all want. And then I realized that I got to be that. I got to be that. And, now I've done so many different things since the healing and including moving across the country several times by myself, and all these other things that I've experienced. But yeah, so we have to be careful that we're not identifying with things too much. We didn't even finish any of the cards. I did one card. Let's see what water had to say for us today. Because water came with the Queen. Oh, I drew all of these pictures. Right? So it started early though. So when I was a young girl, I went to school. And when I went to school, I was smart. And my teachers loved me. So then I wanted to keep going to school because, well, I got lots of pats on the head and lots of awards for all the things that I was doing. School was awesome for me. I did track, I did sports too. I did cross country. I did soccer, I did all kinds of different things. And yeah, I just was go, do. Run, run, run. That was my motto. Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. And I was outrunning my trauma until it caught me. And I had no choice but to heal it. And that's how many of us do it. We wait for one thing makes us go, enough is enough. I'm tired of these relationships. I'm tired of the struggles at work. I'm tired of the way my body feels. I'm tired of the mind and the overthinking. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of feeling like there's a dam about to break anytime something happens because I'm that frail right now. One thing I will let you know, you do not have to deal with the entire dam. Right. And that's something that usually prevents us from even starting, is we're like, oh, there's a lot there, but it's one moment, one breath, one step. You do not have to deal with it all at once. And you don't have to revisit every single episode of it either. If you find the core wound to abandonment, you heal that wound. You don't have to heal every time that you've been abandoned. Same thing with rejection. Right. And for those of us who got the ADHD diagnosis, and then on top of that is the hypersensitivity, the rejection hypersensitivity. Right. So for us that identify as that and want to take on that label and agree that we are hypersensitive to rejection, be aware of that. So when anything happens that's rejection and you feel that emotion rise, that you're like, it's okay. I know I'm sensitive because this brushes up against me being rejected, but I'm not being rejected because I could never reject myself. And that's the only one that can reject you at the end of the day. Okay. All right. Let's see what our Queen of Water is saying, because she's got emotional maturity. She is deep love, emotional maturity, compassion, psychic abilities, and healing energy. You have all the healing energy in you. And you can heal yourself for sure. So the Queen of Water invites you to open your heart to the beauty of love, healing, and emotional wisdom. She is a reminder that compassion, intuition, and deep understanding are your greatest strengths. I had to be very compassionate with myself lately. Very compassionate. All right. We got for air, we got the 5 of air in the reverse. One of the statements that I wrote on one of these cards and it was the 5 of fire, but it is using the conflict as a crucible for change. And I love that term. With this though, we had it in the reverse. So when we have 5s in the reverse, 5s tend to be like conflict, comparison. They're that kind of contentious kind of energy. Air is mental. So if we had this in the upright, that would be a conflict. Like you could be having a verbal argument with somebody, or you could be sparring in your mind or logically, right? There could be manipulation going on and things like that. But when it's in the reverse, that means that we are moving beyond that. So there's this resolution that's happening now. Truth is being revealed. So what does the air want to tell us for the truth? And it's also letting go of unnecessary battles. Sometimes our peace is more important than winning a battle, right? Sometimes we have to actually look at that. Is this really something that I want to get myself invested in? I have to say that on social media on the regular, because I'm on there doing content for all of my stuff and, Hugs for Homeless. I have my Sha'Ryah channel. I have my Sha'Ryah and Lorian channel, One Truth Sets You Free channel. So I have multiple things that I'm doing. I have multiple groups and classes and books that I'm writing and all kinds of stuff. Plus, I love nature. So I just want to be outside and just enjoy things and just, be at peace. I love to make stuff, especially like sourdough bread, and which I got to make this week still. I should be making it tomorrow, I think. I'll start it tomorrow and have it and finally bake it on Friday. So I want to be doing those things. So I don't want to be the whole time engaged in other things, right? You got to pick your battles. I want peace. I want peace. Do you want peace? So the 5 of air asks you to discern truth from illusion. If something feels off, trust your intuition. Winning isn't always victory. Sometimes peace is the greatest success. So how's your discernment? One of the things that helps you with your discernment is reconnecting to your body and then regulating your nervous system. If you are dysregulated, it's really hard to discern things because your nervous system's already just in survival or safety. Where's safety? Where's safety? That's what your nervous system is doing at that point. It's just like, I need to get to safety. Where is safety? There's a threat around me, and it all depends on what level of threat it is. That depends on how activated your nervous system is going to be. So get yourself regulated, do some good deep breathing, and then you can ask yourself those questions. Your body will respond before your mind does. What your body says is important information. It may not be the only thing that you need to look at. Your body could clench up and you could be like, oh no, that person's bad. But your mind's like, well, maybe I should give them an opportunity. Right? You want to listen to your body that's saying that that's bad. So have some maybe distance, keep your guard up. But you want to allow that logic to be there as well. But if the body's saying really, really, no, listen to the body. Sometimes we'll just get a little bit of tension. There's one, if to me, it feels like porcupine. That's what I call it. And it's just it's irritation. But I feel like I almost feel spiky. I want to get away from stuff. So that just pay attention to that. Sometimes you'll feel an openness and I'll just be like, but that's a good sign. Or you'll feel really grounded and steady and stable. And that's a good sign too. Sometimes, it's where we get the tension that's giving us the information, right? What do you feel like you can't chew it? You feel like you can't get a good bite out of it, right? That can come from the jaw, right? How we're going to bite into our lives, and things. So keep an eye on that. Get yourself regulated, then listen to your body first. Pay attention to whether it's responding in a positive or negative way, even though emotions are not positive or negative, they're just merely information, right? They're information for you about your environment and the people around you. Fire came out with the 10, but the 10 in the reverse. So 10s are endings and beginnings because it's the first double number. And when you reduce it, it goes back down to 1 because 1 plus 0 equals 1. So we get back to the single digit of 1, which is a new beginning. When it's in reverse, this 10 is going to speak about release, breakthrough, breaking free, lightening the load, choosing a new path, and burning away limitations. So it's a beautiful card. This is what is where we're clearing up that energy. So the 10 of fire urges you to honor your limits and embrace transformation. Fire loves to transform. And if you are doing a healing journey, use fire to your benefit. Write out all the crap you want to get rid of. Write it out on a piece of paper. Write all of it. Get it out there. Burn it. Release it. Be done with it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write all of this heaviness that I've been hanging on to for the stuff that's come up the last 2 days, and I'm going to burn it. Be done with it. Burn it in the fire. You can also conjure up other fire. You burned it? Just kidding. You were burning things at a fire? Trying to get to there. I'm trying to get there, Hams. Okay. The 10 of fire urges you to honor it. So it is time to shed the weight, the old weight, and rise from the ashes anew. So Phoenix, be reborn. Phoenix, be reborn. I love it. All right. We have ether now. Ether was in the inverted position as well. So this is the 2 of ether. I forgot. I made this tarot deck and I included the ether element because I thought it was really silly that the tarot deck that has the elements was missing ether. And so I made my own deck. You can either use the ether element in it or just take that set of cards out of it and just use it as a standard tarot deck. So it can be a standard or it can be an expanded set. I haven't put this into publication yet. I made one set of cards for me to use, and and I've got the book done. I just haven't I got to figure out how to put it into production, but someday. All right. The two of ether in the reverse. So the two of ether, we're talking spirit here. And when we talk about twos are balance, harmony, right? So when this was in the reverse, that means there's something that's out of balance spiritually. Okay. So this can be a resistance to change, imbalance, like I just said, disharmony, struggling to integrate opposing forces, or feeling disconnected from source. The two of ether is an invitation to step into flow, embrace divine rhythm, and trust that everything is unfolding in perfect balance. It is a call to align with your highest path and move forward with effortless grace. So this could be someone that is becoming too materialistic and avoiding the spiritual aspect of it. It could be somebody who is, really, really focused on one particular thing, work, let's say, and not on the relationships. So there's that imbalance, but wherever the imbalance is, there's an element of the spirit that is out of harmony. Okay. So you'll have to think about what that is. Maybe you just need to connect with nature more, because there's a lot of spirit in nature. It's beautiful. All right. Major Arcana. I pulled one of the Major Arcana cards just to finally. They're both just. This came in the upright. So this is the card in Major Arcana that represents Aquarius. And Aquarius does like to shine. They're about innovation. And they are the group that is thinking outside of the box. They take what Capricorn has made, and Capricorn is about integrity and structure. Capricorn is the big daddy of the zodiac wheel, and in that it really embodies a lot of the divine masculine principles, even being governed by Mars. Saturn, sorry, being governed by Saturn. Aries is Mars. Governed by Saturn. Anyway, he's very much responsible, and and I know I'm talking about Capricorn holding Aquarius, but I'll get there. So Capricorn takes everything and he says, "Hi, Jer, how are you? Thanks for looping me in on that conversation today. Appreciated it." So Capricorn, the big daddy, the big daddy of the astrological wheel, he stands in integrity, and he says, "What is stable? What has lasting ability? What can we carry forward for our children?" Right? What has, that integrity is a huge thing with Capricorn. And then Aquarius comes in and says, "Oh, that's great, Daddy. So you did enough for us and for the kiddos. But what about the next generation? What about humanity as a whole? How can we make this better? How can we make this so that it affects, so that's great for everybody, not just for you and us?" Right? So then Aquarius comes in and becomes very innovative and says, "This is the humanitarian. This is what can we do for the world? How can we affect change in a global way?" It's kind of interesting because right now everybody's talking about how we are in the age of Aquarius, but we're actually not. We're in the age of Pluto. Like Pluto is in Capricorn. And when Pluto's in Capricorn, he's in there with Big Daddy energy. And Big Daddy energy is looking at all the structures. He's looking at all the businesses. He's looking at everything. And he's going, what has integrity? What do we build upon for something to last as a legacy? So you can see that where in politics, in religion, everywhere around the world, things are falling. Anything that's lacking integrity is being shown, right? We're seeing all of this stuff. It's coming to the surface, and it's coming to the surface for us to be aware of it, that it's not in integrity, so that we can do something to change it. And we will create the new structures. And then Aquarius will come in and say, this is global. Let's globalize. This is, you guys did great. We created a harmonic city and we did all these things and right? Like it can say all those things. And then Aquarius is like, "Oh yeah, but let's do this for the whole world. Let's make the new world." Aquarius doesn't actually go into Pluto until 2041. So we've got a long time left with with Capricorn being in Pluto, but that's okay. There's so much at play. And like I was saying earlier, which is funny, we're looping back to that. When we're looking at our astrology, if we're only looking at our sun sign, we're missing a big part of the picture, a huge part of the picture. Like the way that each of the signs speak in the spaces that they're in is huge, right? If you really want to know how you communicate, how you talk, in that space, you're looking at your Mercury, right? So what is your Mercury sitting in? Well, Ham's Mercury is in Gemini. So Ham's is very smart, quick, probably can occupy a lot of this and that, like opposing concepts, and be okay with both of them, which is cool because we need people like that. I love Gemini and like intellect. Gemini intellect is very fun. Venus, for instance, how you love, how you attract, how you are within relationships. That's going to be your Venus. Your sun is just your life force. Your rising is how you show up. And your rising probably is what most people, the information or the way that people would see you is through your rising sign. What was your rising? Your rising was Cancer, right? Or was, I don't know. I don't know. Yes. What was your rising? You were Leo or Cancer with Leo rising. So then you'll be Cancer with Gemini rising. Is that correct? Is that what I said in the thing? Like, I'll just go to Facebook and I'll look at what I wrote. Yes, Cancer with, all right. Yeah, if you moved into true sidereal. Yeah, so what was it that you didn't feel that you could identify with that for? Because you are Leo. Like there is Leo in, I'm looking at your chart. I did a quick chart. I did a quick chart. So yeah, you don't have any Cancer except for the Cancer rising. And that would make sense though, because your rising, like when you look at your rising sign, that's huge. Right? Yeah, I'm going to open up one of my documents. If it'll open. Hi, Jared. Okay, open, browse. Where do we want? We want Christic astrology. A lot of Cancer energy around you. Yep, exactly. We identify by it. So now you get to become who you truly are. All right, let's do, I'll do a couple different ones. What are you, Jer? Yeah, most of them, a whole bunch of Geminis. Where is my moon? And I want to open up. Where's my sun one? You know. You know. I do know, but it's not, it's there, but it's not. What is that term called? You know what? I was happy that I remembered Ham's birthday from the conversation earlier, that I was able to just type it in. But numbers definitely land in my head a little differently than, especially birthdays now from doing so many charts. That one. Okay, we've got the sun, we've got the rising. Let me open up my Moon one. And that's true sidereal though, right? See, so Yoda Star. This is your card. And it's funny because you showed up when I was reading the Aquarius card, not when I was going through all the rest of them. You knew when to show up. I got this. Okay, so if we look at our rising sign, so the rising sign is your gate of embodiment. Okay, it reveals how your soul enters the world, how light moves through the body, and how identity is first perceived by others. The rising is not a mask. It is the energetic lens through which the sun radiates and the moon expresses, because your moon's your expression, your sun's your radiance. Okay, so where the sun is your core radiance and the moon is your inner regulation, the rising is light in motion. Okay, so I love thinking of your rising sign as that, the light in motion. So your rising sign governs your physical presence and posture, your instinctive responses to new environments, your first impression and energetic tone, and the body's pacing and rhythm. It is the living interface between your inner world and your outer world. That's your rising sign. The psychological function of your rising sign, it describes how your identity is projected, how boundaries are established, how confidence is embodied, and how survival strategies are enacted socially. It is the behavioral gateway of the chart. Is that what you thought about the rising sign, about your rising sign? So now if we talk about the sun being completely different, because this is the radiance, your expression, right? So the sun reveals how the oversoul radiates into embodied form. It is the core light, the guiding flame, and the stabilizing coherence field of the incarnation. The sun is not personality. It is not ego. It is source frequency through which identity organizes, vitality flows, and purpose stabilizes. So the sun is a radiant coherence field, not a trait, the stabilizer of the chart's architecture, and the place where your oversoul or higher self, right, anchors light into form. So my sun's in Aries. And Jer Bear's Aquarius. Okay. So my Aries, I am ignition. I am courage. I am divine will. Those are the big ones. So my oversoul radiates initiation itself. It's let's go. Let's do this. Light moves forward through decisive action and fearless presence. Identity stabilizes through movement and direct engagement with life. I love life. Like I said, I like nature. I go out and I like look at the sun, my fire. So the gift of radiance of Aries rising is leadership, momentum, and catalytic presence. The shadow of distortion, impulsivity, burnout, done that, and reactive identity. The restorative practice is conscious physical movement. I have to move my body every day. And intentional pauses before you take action. Because with Aries, if you're not careful, you go too fast and you're running with that, but you have to go through the heart space. You want to go through your heart and you want to be making sure that. All right, so you would be Sun in Gemini. So that would be your three top words, because I couldn't think. Curiosity, connection, and mental light. So this oversoul radiates through exchange, dialogue, and adaptability. Identity stabilizes through learning and relational intelligence. The gift of radiance is communication, bridge building, and adaptability. The shadow of distortion is fragmentation and over-identification with your thoughts. The restorative practice is focused learning cycles and breath-centered presence. He definitely likes the dialogue. All right, let's see what our Aquarius friend is. Who else wants to, you can, if anyone else knows their sign, you can put them down. And if they're tropical, I'll just bump them back by 1. It's not a 100% guarantee, but it's possible. It's fairly accurate. The reason why I say it's not 100% guaranteed is because the constellations, and this is the difference between sidereal and true sidereal, the constellations do not occupy the same space in the sky. So when we see a zodiac wheel, it's an absolute pie, right? With each piece being the same size, but that's not the case. When you look at the sky, Virgo's like this and Scorpio's like this. So it takes just over around a day to move through Scorpio, and it takes like 3 and a bit to move through Virgo. So we have way more people that get born under the Virgo sun than get born under a Scorpio sun. That's probably a good thing, though. It's all the energies that we need for the purpose that we need it. And Virgo is the one that puts out the people that are into service. So you want to have a lot of people that are service minded. So we want a lot of Virgos in the world, right? Just like Gemini is another one that has a fairly large one. Aquarius is pretty big too. I'd have to look at my chart to see. Yeah. It does. It cuts them into the even sizes of pieces. But in true sidereal, there's 13 pieces of the pies, and those 13 pieces aren't the same size. Ooh. I always do that. I look for a device so I can show a picture, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have it. Because I'm on them. All right. Cusp of Capricorn. Hi, John. Cusp of Capricorn. Jer, I feel like you're cusp of Capricorn, not cusp of Pisces, but I could be wrong. You said cusp, Aquarius cusp. Which side? Were you born close to Capricorn or close to Pisces? Okay. All right. We'll start with Aquarius anyway, because I really only, if I look at your chart for fully under my system, I tell you if you're on a cusp, but I only do a cusp if it's 1 degree. If it's 1 degree or less, it has to be 1 to 0 degree, and that's the cusp. So I'd have to look at your chart and determine whether I would put you on a cusp or not, but I'll give you Aquarius. So the three terms are for Aquarius. I only gave you 2 anyway. Perfect. So radiance is innovation and collective intelligence. The oversoul radiates through future-oriented vision and unity consciousness. So you're hardwired as Aquarius to be in unity consciousness through your humanitarian aspects, right? The identity stabilizes through contribution to the whole, right? So the gift of radiance is originality, humanitarian insight. The shadow of distortion is detachment and abstraction. Woo. The restorative practice, Jer, whenever you feel out of sync, is just heart-centered connection with your community. And I know that. You're probably like, I'm feeling a little bit of a funk. I should go live. Hi, Sabrina. I could do a dirty, all I'm doing right now, I'm talking about rising sun and moon through true sidereal, and doing a quick little explanation about what they are. You know what? I'm going to do something too. Okay, guys on Facebook, I'm just going to close down Facebook and YouTube because there's nobody viewing right now anyway. So I'm just going to end that and then I can just focus on down here.